Good morning.
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 Hey Brian, Helia just messaged me saying she will not be able to attend this call today morning. So we can probably start if we have a call.
Okay. All right, all right, so I think we're almost done redoing the control messages. So what I did in the last week was take all the notes we took in the last couple of meetings and then generated verbiage around everything. So I'll just run through that today and we can determine if that's cool. And then I was hoping Helia would be here so we can discuss next steps. But
Okay,
we'll see where we are. We'll see how long this takes, I guess.
sure. Yeah, I think maybe next steps. I mean, once this is good enough, I think we can probably open it up for a broader review.
Yeah, that was my hope.
And in parallel, then Helia can start working towards making this official.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd like we'll just go ahead and discuss that real quick. So yeah, I'd like to put this out for review. Again, we talked about this a little before and Helia was not clear what that process looked like. But it sounds like what we really want eventually is to integrate this into the other spec. So while this is out for review, I figured I'll just work on moving this over as an appendix. And then when we do any edits based on the feedback from the review, we'll just do it to that version. And then we can, the final sign off would probably be on the appendix like version. If there's any
Got
other,
it. Yeah.
it sounds like if there's any other edits or like errata for the main link layer spec, since we're basically publishing a new version of the link layer spec, it might be good to consider those at the same time. But I don't know of any existing errata out there, so it might be good to ask as well for those, since we're going through they're going through all of the hassle of getting sign off for the main link layer spec for revision. If there's any other things to add, we should consider.
Yeah, I'm not aware if we are discussing the main link layer in any of the forums because I think this forum, today's meeting is titled as a link layer discussion, and then the meeting on Wednesday is titled as spy layer discussion. So I don't think the main link layer is being discussed anywhere in any other forum. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
even I'm not sure if there is any errata that we want to add.
yeah,
Or do you know?
I think you're right. I don't think anybody else is. I think this is effectively the link layer meeting, but I don't. Yeah, again, I don't know if you guys or anybody else has run into problems that need to be brought up there. I know there's been some discussion about broadening the link layer for different physical layers, but I expect that's a longer conversation than we want to have for an immediate, a near-term release. So maybe that's a further topic discussion. But anything else in terms of like features or something like that are small enough for us to consider it, or typos, that would be another good option. If there's any other little fixes like that, that would be good.
Agreed, agreed.
All right, let's look at the document I'm sharing here. Let's see. So again, best way to handle this. I'll just kind of read this out loud, and because the whole section's not that long, and then you guys just stop me if there's something that you think I captured incorrectly from our notes, or if we need to rethink something. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. So again, so I guess one change real quick is I'd already broken up the table. I broke up everything into subheadings. So I have general PMR messages, SBU PMR messages. There's a lot of SBU messages, by the way. SBU PMR pattern setup messages, SBU PMR configuration messages, LBU PMR messages, and then the last one is PMR error messages. And so I will, here, let me go back up to top, up to general. Okay. The link ready message is used to request the main band link transition to the operational state. Excuse me, while an implementation can request this transition in any stage, it is normally sent at the end of the IBU or LBU stage. The link only transitions once both sides have made this request. The reset message is used to request the main band link move to the establishment state and train or retrain the link. An error-free ACK from the partner completes this transition. This request may be made by either side, though typically the RX would make this decision in any state and be caused by a number of implementation determined factors, temperature changes, software flushes, bus errors, etc. The full calibration request message can be used by either side to request the link move to the LBU stage for link training. As with the reset command, this can be done for a variety of reasons that an implementation detects as problematic. Loss of frame lock, too many FEC errors, etc. The disable training message is used by the RX side of a link to request the TX stop training if possible. This can be used to end the SBU stage, to cleanly finish testing, or in any stage to stop a current playing test. Note, implementations may not have the capability of stopping ongoing playback and may not act until the current test has finished running. The request done message signals the completion of a previously The request done message signals the completion of a previously received message when an acknowledgement has been requested. The ACK rec bit is ignored for partner previous rec done messages. The above section on PBAR messaging constraints. See the above section of PMR messaging constraints for more information. Note, messages that request state transitions are encouraged to use the ACK rec bit to ensure that both sides of the link are properly synchronized. A request done response to a state transition implies both sides successfully made the state update. Changing the state individual slices in a link, e.g. the reset and full calibration request command, may cause those slices to differ in stage from the others in the same link. Implementations should manage these slices separately if possible, or use commands to force the remaining slices into sync, e.g. a reset link message. Does all of that sound good to everyone?
Sounds good to me. I will let Paul or others chime in as well.
There's a bunch of jets flying over my house right now. Sorry. Yeah, it sounds good to me too.
All right. All right. So next section is SBU PR messages. And again, the groupings of these is a little on the loose side, but you know what you can do. All right. The above commands in table 23 are transmitted in the SBU state. The transmit side of the link moves from establishment to SBU when done with, excuse me, let me rephrase that. The transmit side of the link moves from EST to SBU when done with local initialization. You know what, I'm going to rephrase that. When finished with its local initialization. That clear. Once in the SBU stage, the TX sends a ready to train. Oh, okay. Sends a ready to train message to request the RX side move to the SBU state. Once both sides have transitioned, the RX side of the link leads the testing and may request a variety of tests be transmitted to the TX. The offset pattern test and the iTraining pattern test are two such tests that are immediately started once requested without any additional configuration. And then the next set is setup messages. In addition to the offset pattern and iTraining pattern, the RX side may configure specific bit patterns and pseudo-random patterns in the SBU stage. The messages in table 24 allow the RX side of the main band link to set up patterns for playback from the TX side. The pattern ID in field 1 of some commands is an identifier that is associated with the pattern that will be uploaded to by subsequent commands. The pattern ID should always be sent before the associated patterns. Missing lower bits in a pattern, if only an upper bit is sent, excuse me, missing lower bits in a pattern, if only upper bit is set, upper bit, I'm reading this wrong, sorry. If only an upper bit set is uploaded, are assumed to be 0. Commands that have a bit ID are for programming patterns on specific pins. So note, I rephrased this a little bit from our previous discussion because I think I said that it's 0 regardless of which side you uploaded, but then I guess it is possible people only want lower bits. So I did change that. So if you upload just the upper bits, the lower bits are assumed to be 0. Otherwise, we'd have to do like an error or something. If you're just uploading lower bits, then it's assumed those are we'll assume it's a truncated pattern. Does that make sense?
When you say,
Yes. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
no, I was just going to ask for, so when you say truncated pattern, what do you mean? It's like invalid?
No. I mean, it's only 16 bits. It's not 32.
Okay.
So
So
I have a quick question on the eye training pattern, right? So I don't think we are mandating a specific spec specified eye training pattern, right? So even for the eye training pattern, there could be some need for pattern configuration. Or are we? I don't recall if we have it in the spec to do a specific eye training pattern. So I thought at some point we were going to add a spec defined pattern, but then that discussion never went too far.
I don't see one. We just have a command that turns it on, from what I can tell. Actually, now that you say that, I was thinking that this actually just ran the pattern, and it doesn't actually say that; it just says set. So I'm not sure how you run it. Oh,
Yeah,
here it
because
is.
I think
No,
I
there's a
yeah
run
I
right here. So there's no yeah, the field 1 is 0 in the set. So you're just turning it on. I'm actually not sure what this command is doing. Oh, it lets you do, well, no. Can you do, let me look at the run 1 second. Yeah, the run lets you configure it too. I actually don't know what the set eye training pattern is doing at this point. Because why would you need a set and a run if it's a predefined pattern?
yeah, I'm trying to recall as well because what I recall, we went back and forth trying to see if we can define a spec defined constant pattern for eye training. But then different implementations already had different types of eye training patterns. So we just made it configurable, CSR programmable, and then left it there. So yeah, I think the set might probably be doing that configuration because the RX side knows what kind of pattern it needs for its own eye training. So if there are two different vendors and you're interfacing with a different vendor file, then you may want to tell the transmitter to send a specific pattern for the RX calibration.
All right. I just realized that the statement up here is not correctly. I'm going to cross this real quick. Before I forget, because it doesn't actually start. There's a run. Okay, so do we need a pattern ID or something like that with those commands? And so you can send at least a reference to one that's previously been agreed, or do we need additional information in here establishing some specific patterns that can be used for eye training?
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I think we added 128-bit pattern CSR, of 128 or 16. I don't remember, 64. I don't remember which one it is, but we said we will program the pattern, pre-programmed pattern into a CSR. So basically for eye training, I think you need a repetitive pattern that is at least like 7 patterns or 8 patterns that you can send. So we said we will add this, make this CSR programmable so that when you build this system with a specific vendor file, the vendor will provide you with an API to set those CSRs so that each side knows what to transmit when the other side is doing RX calibration. So I
Uh,
think that's the last discussion that I recall, but you could probably do it through PMR as well. So I think we also have this set eye training pattern PMR message, so we could use that as well to control this purely via the RX side.
so you're saying the pattern is effectively we're just saying because like, the CSR is outside the scope of the spec, it sounds like, because we don't really, especially for the link side, the only CSRs that we're defining are this PMR. And so we're basically saying that the eye training pattern is set and agreed to out of band, right?
Correct.
Okay. Let me just capture that real quick. So what about the offset pattern? How is that predefined somewhere?
So I mean, the implementation that I have worked on, the offset pattern was a simple all one pattern. I don't know if that's the same with Paul's implementation as well, but yeah, I mean, but it would probably fall under the same category of predefined pattern.
Um, so what are we saying the actual set commands are doing in this case? Because like if it's agreed to out of band and there's no exchange of information, this just seems like a command that because we already have other types of set tests that are just run, right? Where we have run, we have no. Where'd my run go? Here we are. Run P bar run. I guess every run has a set, so this is just to complete that pair. Because I mean,
So
if
so
again,
so
again,
yeah,
if you're already going to say it's just pre-agreed, then from a it's just the set command is not actually doing anything, right?
Yeah, well, especially since we don't define what the patterns are, right? There's an encoding for a pattern, pattern one, pattern two, pattern three, right? But we don't say what those are,
Yeah.
right? So it's all kind of implementation specific.
Well, we don't. Well, it's even worse than that. There's no like, especially on I and offset, it's just zeros, right? So it's not even like you can pick a different eye training pattern. It's the eye training pattern. And so the set actually conveys absolutely no information other than adding a wait state effectively. So I propose we just remove those for now. Unless there's a
yeah,
reason to have them.
Yeah, I mean, based on the previous agreement that the eye training and the offset pattern would be agreed on out of band. If that is still holding true, then I agree with you that we can. I mean, set eye training pattern seems like something redundant to have in the PMR. I believe that got added to give some flexibility as to whether we want to do it out of band or in band. But I don't recall that
Well,
discussion completely.
unless we're, yeah. So I get you, Rom. So, but I guess we have the flexibility of adding this later because it's all kind of built into the message construction, right? And that
Correct.
these are anybody can build these commands if they need to, right? If somebody wants to add a set eye training command, then they can do it. But unless we're actually providing a mechanism to actually set something, then as an example, it doesn't really help. So I would say that's why I guess I suggest removing them. It's just we're not using them. We can add them later too in the next rev, if we do agree to those things. And then it actually means something when we have them. So okay. Here, I'm just gonna cross this out. You guys think about it, next couple of days. If you come up with a use case, then I won't delete them. And then I'll rephrase this to make it make more sense. Because I think the statement here was, so I kind of thought that's what we were doing anyway, but I thought I was thinking set was actually run, and I didn't realize there was a corresponding run down here. So I'm going to basically just move some of that text around so it makes sense there. And same with these. I need to
Yes.
rephrase that.
So I would actually also ask, like, why do we need a set and a run, right? Because the RX side is asking for a certain pattern. The transmitter, when it receives this message, it can do set. It will almost always do set and run at the same time. So do we really need two different messages?
Yeah, we do, unfortunately, for some of them. And it's because of the thing that we did. So we do the upper lower bits, right? So I guess you could do, and I guess the way that we have set it up right now, you can transmit those in either order. So you don't know when to run unless you add another bit.
I see. Okay, makes sense. I mean, we
We
could have consolidated all the run into just one single run command instead of having each replicating it for each set command. Maybe that would probably reduce the number of messages that we want to be afraid of.
we if it is a goal for us to reduce the number of messages in the sideband link, we could probably come up with something here. I'm not sure whether we really need that necessarily for all these conditions. But like there is a bit like 58 or something like that distinguishes set and run. And some of the cases you could actually, and because we have separate secondary commands, I think, primary, secondary, let's see what we're doing. Oh yeah, no, it's part of the primary. There's probably a way we could do this where the run becomes implicit and stuff. Um, but but I don't know what the ROI of all of that would be. Right now, you're able to like, define patterns and set patterns with these multiple commands, and then reuse those patterns on multiple different set messages, right? Or multiple different run messages. I think you use, oh no, you set and then you run either way. Yeah, we could actually put the pattern ID in the runs if we really wanted to reduce it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is just a suggestion. Yeah, I mean, if you feel there is no harm in having extra messages. I was just trying to see if you can reduce it so that it becomes easier for people to adopt it.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we feel like sideband latency during this phase is crucial enough to reduce, as we'd be basically cutting off one instruction on each each test, right?
Sir, can you repeat the previous question? I think you got cut off.
Sorry, I'm hold on. Let me think a second. So, do a set. I actually didn't realize that the ID is not getting reused. I actually don't know what the order of these commands is. It's different than I was thinking is when I was writing this text. All right. I think this has to be discussed whether we like it or whether we're comfortable with it already or not. So, all right. So Ron, why don't you walk me through actually what your understanding is of the order of operations here for if I want to just set a pattern playback message, like what is the order of operations for the commands? Because I think I wrote this wrong. And the reason I say that is because like right now we have commands for setting the upper and lower, right? With a pattern. We have a command for setting the pattern ID, right? And then we have a command for running, which doesn't include the pattern ID. So how do you associate an ID with a pattern, and then how do you run that pattern? Do you have to read? Is the pattern ID not meant to be associated with the test pattern? Or are we supposed to be, are these pattern IDs some other predefined pattern?
I thought pattern ID is only for predefined patterns, where we know what each pattern ID means, if I recall correctly.
Okay. So I think that's different than our discussion because I think we were talking about actually associating pattern IDs with patterns in the commands. So, all
Right.
right. So the flow would always be do a set, one or two set commands, and then do a run, right? And then in that case, okay, let me write that. Let me change this. So pattern ID. This is wrong. The pattern ID in field in field one of the set commands is an identifier that's associated with a pattern. And then this is wrong here too. Um, that is communicated out of band. We have a lot of this out of band stuff. Um, so I guess then the question in my mind is why are we doing it this way? Okay, well, let me rephrase. Would it make more sense to do it as I had written and thought I understood earlier, meaning that you build patterns with specific pattern IDs, and then I was thinking you would end up reusing those down here, but I didn't. I guess I didn't actually ever read to see that they were zeroed out. So meaning that when you do a run, you actually always include a pattern ID. I guess if you're only ever using a test once,
Well, I mean, if you require a set before a run, then you don't need to reproduce the pattern ID in the run command, right? It's whatever you previously set up. I mean, it's like a goal.
I guess we don't ever discuss the lifetimes, right? So of the pattern IDs in the previous discussion, right? I was assuming that you would be setting these up and then potentially reusing the IDs at later dates, later not dates, but like if you need to do a retrain, you don't need to do sets anymore. You just do runs. But I guess we don't. That might be too much of a burden.
Right. Well, to me, it's like if you reproduce the pattern information in the run command, then you don't need the set command. Right. To me, the run command is like a go bit. Right. It's just saying, okay, I've set everything up. You know what to do. Just now do it.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying that's the way it has to be. That's the way I'm interpreting this.
Okay. Let's just keep it like that. I mean, I don't think I guess I think I overthought this a little bit. So there is no, so, okay. So you just do one or two of these commands and then you do a run. You do two of these commands and then you do a run. Um, we'll just keep it like that. And then the question then becomes, I guess back to Rom's point, is there any optimization we would want to do there? So right now there's not a difference between running a pattern you define and running a predefined pattern other than changing the set. And so I think you were saying, Rom, you could combine some of these potentially. I guess that would be whether the question then is there enough ROI there to combine some of these commands, like do a set and a run in a single command.
Yeah, I mean, if we are always going, so that boils down to your previous question about the life cycle of these patterns. So if the thought process is that these patterns would be reused at a later stage via a purely a run command, then maybe keeping the run command probably makes more sense. But if you are always going to set before you run, then maybe we could use one of the like set upper or the set lower as an implicit run for the transmitter side. So yeah, it depends on the life cycle actually. So if the goal is basically to store the patterns so that they can be recalled during any time until the chiplet is not reset, then it probably makes sense to keep the run command as separate command.
But I think we just agreed that we're not keeping the patterns alive. So I think okay. So again, I think what you were saying, Rom. So if we just defined each of these sets having like for instance, like this set test pattern, right? This could just be set and run, right? And it would just reduce an instruction in the set. I don't know I don't know the reason why you'd want to set this one and then do this generic run. We could potentially just have another command that's set and run pattern ID, etc. I don't know if this is a problem or not, I guess is the question. Maybe this is something that we do after review and people say, hey, this is twice as many commands on a slow link for training. This is increasing my time. I don't know the number of, microseconds here versus microseconds in the actual training pattern, whether it even matters.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I don't know the rationale or don't recall the rationale behind having a separate run. So I'll probably have to think about it a bit more
Okay.
to see if I
All
can
right.
come up with a use.
I'll also think if after we rephrase some of these things, whether I have any proposal on combined, and then we can discuss that next week.
Yeah, the one use case I see for having them be separate is that it is when you're running PRBS, it would be, there are cases where we want to set different seeds for the different lanes, for the different bits in this case. But then you'd like to let everybody go at the same time. Right? So you really do have different seeds, right? If you seed them and start them off at different times, you don't know where you are, right? You
I
don't know
see.
when one guy started. So I do see a use case where it would be nice to be able to set everything up. And right now it takes two things to do that, right? We don't, in the set command, there's a way to pass the seed across, but in that command, there's no way to pass what the length of the PRBS is. Right? So I assume that can you just go up to where the set, yeah. So I see, the pairs of guys is how you set the seed.
Mm-hmm.
You do it my way, you'd have to do the first two guys, n number of times or 16 times for the 16 lanes, 16 bits.
Yeah.
Then you'd have to do one of the guys at the bottom to say, okay, I want to do a PRBS 7 or 15 or whatever, my Bob, right? And that will take some time to do. You can't just start the run at that time. And so then later on, once you've done all of that, now you can say go.
Yeah. Okay. I get you. I get you. So you're setting up an individual pattern on each bit, and then doing one run at once. That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a common thing that we do, but I mean, if you really want to stress out crosstalk or whatever, Bob, right, you do want to be able to control independently the seeds for each of the guys and know when they all start.
Okay. All right. I like it. Okay. So I think that's good insight there, Paul. Okay. Let's all think about this a little bit more for next time. And then if somebody wants to have another proposal, then we can redo it. Otherwise, I'll just rewrite it as we discussed here, and then we can double check that. Okay, let's move on to PMR configuration stuff. The commands on table 26 enable the RX side to configure the TX-PHY settings in the SBU state. The set PHY transmit termination command has a termination ID, term ID, command that has a termination ID is for the RX side setting the TX side's termination value during SBU. Yeah, okay. At this time, only 0 and 1 are valid. All other values are reserved. The set phi tx bad lane command establishes which main band lanes are unusable during SBU. The repair fallback lanes are defined in the bow phi specification. Yeah, okay. Any issues with that?
Looks good to
The above messages in table 27 are transmitted by the RX side during the SBU stage. The RX side transitions from SBU to the LBU stage when it's done training. May explicitly send a set phi TX disable training pattern message, but a TX link request to train will implicitly stop all SBU training and move the TX side into LBU. All the other messages in this table are for the RX side to request specific tests be run immediately by the TX side. And lastly, I kind of rebuilt the error section just basically as a descriptor for the error PMR message. Link errors are pushed to a partner through their PMR. An error message to table 27 can be sent to a PMR at any time. If the ACREC bit is set, the error should be treated as a response to the previous message in lieu of the partner previous rec done message. Table 27 shows the format of the error message. Error messages, it's kind of redundant, I should change that. Error messages are relevant to the stage referenced by the message in field 1. and field 1 is meant to be an error code that details the issue within that stage. Both the codes and the handling of those codes are not currently covered by the specification. Note, this document only specifies the error message formats. The error code values and the handling of the errors is left to the implementation. It's important that the implementation avoids infinite loops when both sides experience errors and errors from conditions when errors are sent back to back. Actually, I'm just going to cross this guy out because it's just redundant. We don't actually give people a solution to this, but whatever. It's more of a note. All right. Any other comments or feedback on those sections?
Looks good.
All right. So it sounds like the only thing that needs to be is left in the specification is this part right here. I'm going to rephrase the set and run stuff just to make it more clear for everybody. And then if you guys can think about whether we want to do any combined commands, then we can add those next time, and then we can call this this spec ready for review. All right. Jeff, I see you joined. Did you want to bring up anything else on the Linklater stuff you're discussing?
No, I don't. I just kind of brought it up last week, so I think we probably need to discuss it with others involved. So
Yeah,
Not-
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else they want to bring up on the control path spec this week? Like I said, like these edits, we'll review the final bits. Oh, you know what? There was one other little thing. I know these are all resolved. What was the other thing I was thinking of? It was in message construction. There was like some vague sentence. No. This is construction. Yes, it was number 4. So there is this statement right here. It says no all links and all slices operation defined. What does that mean? Because we definitely do. Well, I guess we always have link ID, right? I guess there's not an all links. Is that what that means?
I think what it means is I think we specified a mechanism to bring up a link. We specified a mechanism to bring up individual slices of a link. But I think all links would probably refer to say between two chiplets you could have multiple such links going on in parallel. And I think what this means is we are not specifying anything in the spec to bring up all of those links at the same time.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to rephrase this then. Say, I keep saying commands. I need to change the terminology. I think was previously defined as messages. So I keep trying to make myself not write command and write message. There are no messages that cover multiple links. that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it does.
Yes.
Okay. I think that was the only question when I was doing a quick read through, but I'll do one more before next week just to make sure that we're clear, and then we can kind of use that meeting for a thumbs up and then discussing next steps. All right. Thanks, guys. Any last thing to bring up before we close?
Yeah, nothing for me.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next week. Oh, actually,
Thanks, man.
one quick thing. I will be traveling next week, and I haven't even looked at time zones. Just one quick second before you guys hop off. What time is this? I am. Okay. This will probably, okay, just FYI. So this will probably be fine. I'll be in Europe. But I think I'll be free at this time. So it may be a quick call, but if for some reason I end up with a meeting conflict during this time, I'll send out an email to everybody. All right. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks, Brian. Bye-bye.
Bye.